With us, the chairman of the Republican National Committee, Ronna McDaniel. Madam Chairwoman, welcome back to the show. How are you today?
Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's first talk about the rally the other night, because I saw on your Twitter feed that you were pointing out that even though the rally physically was not packed to the brim, the amount of people that watched it, totally different number.
Totally different number, record numbers watching it on the Donald J. Trump channels, which was 11 million, which is unprecedented. And then you saw Fox News put out that it was their highest rated Saturday night programming in history. So I think a lot of people made the decision, which makes common sense, when they hear hundreds of thousands of people are going to be there, there's going to be violent protests. They say, you know what, I'll stay in my air-conditioned home and I'm going to watch it on TV. And that's what they did.
So the amount of people that watched it then at home, I think it was something like, you said 7 million online. Is that right?
11 million. So it's 20 million
wow.
Total.
Wow.
Yep, 20 million total. And that was just as of yesterday. So people are still rewatching it on the Trump channel.
A lot of people are concerned about mail-in ballots this year. And, you know, my state of New Jersey, for example, it's going to be basically mandatory. You know, I already got my mail-in ballots in the mail, and I put them back. I already sent them in. A lot of people are concerned that mail-in ballots are going to be rife with abuse and fraud. How worried should we be?
Well, you know, absentee ballots are part of our political system, and many of the states have put vetting in place. But what we don't like about Democrats expanding this so much, one, it's deluging a system that's not prepared for it. Two, they're trying to strip away all types of voter identification. We're in 26 lawsuits around the country where Democrats are trying to get rid of things of signature verification, voter ID. And I think the third is many secretaries of state don't clean their voter rolls. So these ballots are being sent to people who've died or who have moved away from the state, which of course leaves room for fraud when ballots are just sitting out there. Not just absentee request forms, which you're seeing in some states, but many states are just sending ballots, like California and Nevada. So there's thousands of ballots literally in Nevada sitting in garbage cans. And of course there's room for fraud when that's the case.
So what can we do? I mean, just every election is a state election, obviously. You know, we don't have one national election, so it's all up to the states, and there's a lot of concern, and particularly some of these swing states. Pennsylvania is a great example. I mean, we're talking about, you know, the president won this state by less than 0.1%. A lot of the election officials, though, are of a different political party. You know, a lot of these people are elected to their positions. So what can we do? What steps is the national party taking? What steps are the state party taking to ensure that my vote's going to be counted and that somebody else's vote is not going to be counted more than once?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we want everyone to vote. We just want to eliminate cheating. I mean, that's really what it is. And we need to have that balance in our system. So we launched a website called protectthevote.com. We're going to have people at the polls watching, making sure. I think people need to contact their county clerks or registrars and make sure they understand the process, and be on the watch for anything you see that's suspect. And we'll have hotlines, and call us and let us know. What the Democrats are doing is they're trying to dismantle election integrity going into a chaotic election year. We're going to have elections today. We're not going to know the results today in the New York and Kentucky elections because the mail-in voting is so massive. The systems just aren't prepared for it. And that's what you're seeing Democrats do across the country.
Ronna McDaniel is the chairwoman of the Republican National Committee. She joins us right now on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. It's great to have her here on Twitter at GOP Chairwoman. You can find her. So I'm glad to hear that you're taking all this seriously. But there's a lot of people out there, though, that are saying, hey, come on, the RNC, you guys have been putting out mail-in ballots for a long time. You've been doing this strategy around the country. This is just about making people afraid so that you can ultimately then reject the election results if Donald Trump loses. What do you say to that?
Well, that's patently false. You know that. But, obviously, as I've said, absentee ballots have been part of the system forever, and we're fine with that, especially with states that have vetted their process. But what we're seeing in 26 lawsuits that I'm in across the country right now.
26, you said? 26 lawsuits?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Democrats have initiated the lawsuits, not Republicans. Democrats are going into states and saying, we want to eliminate voter verification. We want to eliminate signature verification. We want to eliminate voter ID laws. We want to expand ballot harvesting so that people can go door to door and collect ballots from strangers. All the things that they're trying to do to remove the safeguards of election integrity, that's what's frightening. Obviously states that have put in good processes for absentee ballots is fine, but when you expand to mail-in voting and you're sending out just ballots to people who no longer live in your state, that obviously leaves room for fraud. That's just common sense. And that's what Democrats are doing across the country.
So the Republican National Convention is now going to be, the business portion will still be in North Carolina, but the actual, I guess, the public show will be in Jacksonville, Florida. Tell us about that, and obviously, how much is going to be impacted by the coronavirus and all this?
Yeah, I was in Jacksonville. I actually wasn't at the rally. I've been in Jacksonville the past 4 days. It's going to be very exciting. It will be a smaller convention. We are going to not be able to allow as many people in, but it'll still be a very large group when you include all the delegates and the alternates and the guests that are coming and political figures. We're going to put safety measures in place to ensure the safety of the convention goers. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a celebration. Jacksonville is a great city. They really want to have us there, not just because of the excitement of the convention, but also from a business perspective. I've heard many business owners saying, thank you for bringing revenue to our city. So we're really excited, and it's going to be a grand old party.
Well, that's the GOP, a grand old party. Exactly. And, of course, I'm talking to the chairwoman of the party right now. Last thing I want to ask you before I let you go, if it's okay, polls, right? I mean, I said this earlier. It's June. I don't take any of this stuff seriously, but, clearly everybody talks about these national polls. This big Fox News poll the other day, I spent some time on this, registered voters. I say, you know what, any poll of registered voters, just rip it up and throw it away.
Yep. You're exactly right, because many states have automatic registration, okay? So you really need to be looking at likely registered voters. That's the target group, and you really should only be looking at battleground states. And Fox, I love Fox News. Most of the time, I think they're great, but I think their metrics on how they're doing their polling has been flawed for the past 2 years. And you'll see I've done Twitter posts about it. They start with a 48% Democrat base in their polling. I mean, that's just exceedingly high. Yeah. That means you only need to move independents 2 points to get to 50%. That's just not accurate. The correct metric for polling is usually 30% Democrat, a little higher than Republicans, 30 Republicans and 30 independents. So there's a lot of independents in this country. So just be wary of polls. You can make a poll say whatever you want it to say. That's the reality.
Well, listen, you've got a great energy about you. I think you're doing a terrific job, and you make Jacksonville sound exciting. I hope we'll be able to be there. I really would love to be there for it. It's going to be, these things are always a lot of fun, It's going to be fun. And, I got to tell you, I was really excited to tour the venues. It's really packed together with the campus that we're going to create, the security perimeter. There's going to be a great radio row. It's going to be similar to a regular convention, just a few less people. We are going to put testing in place. We're going to do temperature checks. We're going to make sure that people are healthy and safe and feel comfortable. But we also can do that in a way that allows us to bring revenue and business and show that America is opening up and can balance health and safety with keeping our economy going. Thank you so much for making the time this morning. Ronna McDaniel, the chairwoman of the Republican National Committee. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me.